What is going on, guys? It is Ahmed, and I am back today with an opportunity for everyone that I think is potentially the biggest stock potential, penny stock, that I have talked about in my videos to this day. And guys, this one here is going to be OBSV or Obsiva, and I'm going to talk about why this pharmaceutical company really has some massive potential. And I do want to thank you guys and start off by saying, as you can see on the screen, we did reach 8,000 subscribers today. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for everyone for your continuous support. Those of you on the Discord who have been having great dialogues with each other and also with me. Again, we're just here to increase our wealth, but I'm not doing this for financial advice, nor am I a financial advisor. Rather, I'm just keeping you guys informed, up to date on the things that I am learning about and the things that I will be investing in myself. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on the video. Now, before I get into the video, I do want to give a shout out to JT Wealth. So she actually was the first person to cover this on the YouTube space, and I don't want to take credit where it's not due. So as you see, a couple days ago, she did upload this potential with she wrote on her video that it has 10x potential. And this here at first was like, okay, this is potential, and that sounds pretty awesome. So I did end up watching it. And I thought to myself, wow, I think she has something special here after I went into the science and I went into the company itself. So JT Wealth, shout out to you for covering this first. You know, your channel is growing itself, so congratulations. All right, guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Let me pull up my PowerPoint here. Okay, so Obsiva, OBSV is the ticker symbol. Will this company succeed? Now, I'm just doing somewhat of a DD or a deep dive, but again, this is more just informing you all. So to start off with, any medication or any biopharmaceutical company that I look into is I want to know the prevalence of the disease that the drug is treating, right? AKA, for investors, the total addressable market. So again, there was a survey that was completed and I read into it about a prevalence survey it was just a PubMed article, and I have all my references cited at the end. So if you want to take a screenshot, look through and go back and view some of these references, feel free to do so. But again, so they use the American Community Survey that has like 5-year estimates basically to extrapolate a 9% rate of the US population, or approximately 11 million women are currently diagnosed with fibroids. Of those diagnosed without a hysterectomy, so basically that did not have their uterus removed, unfortunately, that this is some of the that's one of the overall treatments is they do a hysterectomy to remove the uterus for a woman, and there are some obviously unfavorable things that occur thereafter. 71% of those who did not receive a hysterectomy tried pharmacological treatment, which extrapolates to approximately 2.7 million women. And then again, there's also this there is some women who don't even have a diagnosis yet. It says about 3% are experiencing moderate to severe symptoms suggestive of fibroids. And I'll talk about what uterine fibroids are, but basically, again, it just makes the woman's menstrual cycle it just makes it a lot more painful, a lot more bleeding, and there's some long-term manifestations and long-term chronic disease issues with having uterine fibroids. Now, what is the conventional treatment? So basically the competition. What does it look like currently? So as we mentioned in the previous slide, hysterectomy, the removal of the uterus. Obviously, a lot of women will not elect to that because, again, that means, unfortunately, they can't bear children anymore after that, nor can they, it's almost like putting a woman into menopause, right? And there's also these GnRH agonists, so gonadotropin releasing hormone. It's basically, again, they use these agonists to kind of basically make it seem like the woman is in menopause by suppressing estrogen and progesterone. And there's also this progesterone releasing intrauterine device, IUDs. So all you females out there, you know that is a potential for contraception if you're a teenage woman all the way through childbearing years. Progesterone releasing IUDs or intrauterine devices, or IUDs, are generally used for women who are interested in alternative birth control if they're not interested in using estrogen or progesterone pills, right? So there's also the tranexamic acid and also oral contraceptives, which, again, just another word for birth control that you see, again, that a lot of females do use day to day. Now, what is OBSV or Obsiva making, or what are they actually in the pipeline for creating, and now is in phase 3 clinical trials, and it's ending phase 3 clinical trials? That is Yestelti. So this is the treatment for uterine fibroids and endometriosis. So two things, again, very similar, usually found upon pelvic exam, or symptomatic women do ask their primary care providers to give them a checkup. And again, we looked at the prevalence, and I want to only focus in on the uterine fibroids aspect. So again, Yeselti is a novel orally administered GnRH receptor antagonist. If we go back one slide, the conventional treatments include GnRH agonists. Here, this is a GnRH antagonists. And here, I underlined orally. One of the big things with GnRH agonists is that they have to be given via injection. Not so favorable. For Yeselti, it's going to be one that could be dosed once a day as an oral medication, just like any other pill. Pretty favorable, of course. Effective management of heavy menstrual bleeding associated with uterine fibroids while mitigating bone mineral density loss. Oftentimes, the big issue with oral contraceptives, with other types of GnRH agonists, again, with how they affect estrogen levels and other different types of hormones from women, is that we see things like mineral bone density, decrease in mineral bone density, also increased stroke risk. Some of the warning signs that we always talk about as pharmacists with our patients who are starting on new therapy is we always have to assess, because again, we have to assess these things. Do you have a history of stroke in your family? Because again, we know that just a dysregulation of estrogen and certain hormones do increase your risks for other disease states like clots, aka strokes. In some forms. Again, we're not going to talk about embolisms and things like that, but specifically strokes. And I don't want to get too sciencey with you guys, because you're here just to kind of know what is my thoughts and what do I think of Yeselti, the product that is currently in phase 3 clinical trials. And again, so unlike marked GnRH agonists, part of the competition or the conventional treatment, Yeselti has the potential to be administered orally once a day with symptoms relieved within days, guys. That is huge, because oftentimes women do struggle after they start therapy for quite some time. It could be weeks to months. And again, with symptoms relieved within days, while potentially mitigating the initial worsening of symptoms often seen with GnRH agonist treatment or the competition. So as I mentioned, here are the references for you all if you want to go back and look through. Again, I used Mayo Clinic because they're a very reputable source. I use it oftentimes when I'm even at work. NCBI, which again is just a hub for all things medical. And lastly, I went through the website itself and I looked through what we call the package insert, although this is not it's not a publicly used medication quite yet. And it hasn't received FDA approval. Now, I'm going to go back and we're going to go back to the actual website and the things on their pipeline. So Obsiva, as we see here, they have Yeselti, the one that I've been talking about for uterine fibroids. That's what I'm focusing on here. So currently it's in phase 3 clinical trials, guys. And that's why these analysts came out. Again, I'll go and look at the price action in a little bit, but they came out and they rated this stock as a huge buying opportunity because again, this has been through phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, and there has been some favorable data that was released on this. Now, here, as you can see, the big thing that I want to look at is this NDA submission. That is anticipated the second quarter of 2021. So first quarter is between January and March. Second quarter is going to be April, May, June-ish time. So again, when an NDA is submitted, a new drug application is what NDA stands for. That is sent over to the FDA. The FDA reads it through, and this process can take up to 6 months of time. Once they go through the NDA process and they approve it, now that's what we call it has received this FDA approval. So the expected FDA approval for the fibroids or Yeselti for uterine fibroids is second quarter of 21. Again, I don't know if that's going to happen that quick. The fact that NDA applications oftentimes can take up to 6 months, depending on how much they already have going on, what's on their plate currently. But again, if they do see that this has some promising data, they might, kind of speed up the process a little bit. So if it's expected by Q2 and now it goes public, FDA approved, we're going to see this one being massively adopted by pharmacies left and right. Doctors are going to start prescribing it because, again, I really think that this is a great, great product that has very favorable side effect profile, because that's the biggest thing. If it has less side effects than its competition or the other conventional treatments, people are going to elect to use Yeselti, this new drug, right? So guys, I think, based off that, they have other things in their pipeline, but what I'm focusing on myself is the fact that this analyst, now let's go back to the analyst rating. This analyst, Ram, from H.C. Wainwright, again, very reputable, and you can see he's considered a 5-star analyst, very respected. 262 out of his 357 ratings were successful. That's pretty huge. And again, he's saying it's a buy with a price target in the next 12 months, the 12-month forecast of about $17, because all these things on their pipeline that are about to go live here soon. There's also Leanna, pretty much a 5-star analyst. She says $28 price target. Some are saying it's a little less than that. So one is saying they're to sell, 2 buy, and 0 hold. So on average, they're saying the price target for Upsiva is $22.50, guys. $22.50, and these are guys who have been in the game for a long time. Again, various reputable analyst firms, and because of that oftentimes will make stocks go one way or the other. Now, Upsiva stock. So what I want to look at now is the price action. So after I mentioned J2 Wealth had it on her video, and shout out to her for covering it so early, this stock was just, again, chilling around the $2 range. It did double up in price pretty much from $2 to $4 in just a couple days. Because again, people saw the analyst rating, the JT Wealth, a lot of people watched your video, which of course influence, YouTube influence is a thing, and I will always admit that. But for me, what do I think? Is there going to be a pullback potentially on Tuesday when the market opens? Possibly. People might take some profits for doubling their money. Why not? If you put in 1,000, now you have 2,000. Some people are going to take that. It makes total logical sense. But for me, what I want to do is I want to establish a significant position in this company because I see what they have on their pipeline. And again, what we know about uterine fibroids and the other things that they have, expanded use in even endometriosis. It's kind of a no-brainer. And it's going to be the first medication of its kind within that class as an oral agent. That's huge, guys. That's huge. And don't take it just from me. Do your own research. Look into these things. Look at that analyst, that Ram guy that I just mentioned. Ram Selvaraju. Sorry if I butchered his name. But again, this guy has been pretty spot on. 262 out of 300 sometimes. That's a pretty decent rating and percentage for being right versus wrong. And overall, just the science behind it and the basic knowledge that I see, again, giving you guys just the basics, I truly think that this stock has some fantastic potential. I want each and every one of you to keep it on your watch list because I don't want you to come, especially in the Discord, and say, oh, I missed out on it. I did watch a video, but I missed on it. Guys, don't miss out on these opportunities, please. So, and of course, as I always say, if you're interested in opening a position immediately Tuesday morning, make sure you are on Webull. Use my affiliate link below. It helps out the channel, it helps me out, but also it's going to give you 4 free stocks. That is number 1. And number 2, it allows you to trade in the pre and post market. Guys, I appreciate every single one of you. Your support has been fantastic, and I'm really enjoying making all these videos. And so until next time, keep investing.